Hello, YouTube. Yes, 1 year ago, I was driving the Hyundai Iconic. It was a 2019. I was renting it from Lyft to do rideshare, and here's how that all went down. March 9th was the day that daylight savings time, went from dark to light here in Washington State. And I'm at this intersection. The sun is setting right in the middle of the road. I got the sun glare in my rearview mirror. The light was green, and I shouldn't have took. It was my fault. I took a left right in front of this woman driving a Fiat, and again I had slowed down. And this was I had a passenger too, so I had a passenger not with me, but I had a ride request, and my passenger was at this bus barn area. So I'm turning to take a left into the bus barn area, not realizing that traffic was coming at me as faster than I thought it was, with all the sun and the sunset and all that stuff. And so, yeah, I turned right in front of this woman driving a Fiat, little red Fiat car, I'd say 2010 or something like that. You guys have seen them around, little Fiat cars that kind of look like a bug of sorts. I don't know. But she had fairly minor damage to her vehicle. It took out her front headlight. I turned right into her, so doing 20, 25 miles an hour. But she drove her car home. She was able to drive the car home, didn't need to be towed. If you can see in the picture, that's the Hyundai Iconic. And that thing was totaled. There's no driving it. The front end it just smashed. Airbag didn't go off either, which was curious. The way it crumpled, and I was fine, by the way. I wasn't injured. My seatbelt kind of yanked on me a little bit, but I was okay. I'm not a, sue people for no reason kind of guy. That's not who I am. I hate that stuff. We're a very litigious society, especially in the Seattle area. There's people looking to sue people for whatever reason, and I'm just not that kind of person. I'm not going to try and sue you, Lyft or Hyundai or whatever, when I wasn't injured. But yeah, the airbag probably should have gone off in that situation. These vehicles, these hybrid vehicles, I don't know how they get away with it. Again, I wasn't injured for a reason, and maybe that has to do with some of the crumple zones, stuff like that. But yeah, man, that car. See, they have to make them light. Another reason that car got 65 miles to the gallon, and I only had to put like $40 in it a week or something like that, $30. I don't know. Was because of I should have tried to pick up the front end of that vehicle after I saw the accident. It must have been very, very light. Imagine the engine and all those batteries aren't very light, but. So yeah, right after that happened, Lyft, which, they have this whole protocol. I called somebody from Lyft because I was pretty shaken at the time. Like, I don't know how to do this. I call someone from Lyft, and they're like, walking me through the accident report. And then the cop on the scene wasn't real helpful. I said, I guess I have to have this towed to a body shop that Lyft wants it towed to. Now, I read this in the information, by the way. Lyft didn't tell me this. The person didn't really know what they were doing on the other end on the accident. That was frustrating. She knew about as much as I did. It's almost like she was reading off the same pamphlet on what to do in an accident situation as I was. So yeah, the car was supposed to be towed to a body shop that Lyft, would certify and have work done to the car. But the officer on the scene is like, no, we're having it impounded. And I'm like, why? And I couldn't find, the car was in the middle of an intersection during rush hour, all right? So they didn't want me running back and forth, which I can understand. But the guy wouldn't let me search for and find the registration. And I was looking for it. It was buried in the glove box somewhere. And then he calls me out because the other driver needed to talk to me and exchange information. So, again, they stop the intersection. I come back from the car, and he's like, did you find your registration? I go, no, I didn't have a chance to find it. And he's, so he wrote me a ticket for not having insurance and registration, like a jerk. The tow truck driver was really nice, and he actually let me tow truck driver's like, do you need to get some stuff out of the car? I see it's a rental. I go, yeah, dude, I appreciate that. He goes, yeah, come on over. Like, he didn't ask the cops permission or anything. He just like, come on over, you know? And so I get the stuff out, find the registration. I actually handed it to the cop as he's handing me the ticket for not having a registration. I took a video on that. So here's the information. And even though I have the information and it's right here in the registration, it's because I didn't give it to you earlier.
Yes.
Because you wouldn't let me get my stuff out of the car.
When we were at your car and you were searching through and I asked you for your insurance registration,
searching
you're not
through it,
able to
yeah.
Stop, listen to me, okay?
Okay.
This is your total. You have 3 options listed below.
Yes.
You can either choose to pay it, top option, mitigate
Okay.
it, middle option, or bottom option, contest it, okay?
All right, but I'm going to bring this to court because I have the information.
I'm not done yet, okay? Here's the options that are listed for you, okay?
Okay.
Now, here's the thing. When I start on my paperwork and you're not able to provide me those items, that's why I write you for it, okay?
Okay.
Now that you have it, the ticket's already written. So here's the good news about this, okay? There's an affirmative defense to operating a motor vehicle without insurance that shows that you have insurance at the time of being.
Okay.
You have to contest it, though, and go to court on it, okay?
Great.
But this is why you need to have these items ready for us at the time of a collision or recently afterwards, okay?
All right.
Do you understand?
Yes.
Are you have any questions about that?
And so, yeah, I did have the video and I kept it. And that was my run-in with the police. And as an older man, I didn't get in trouble. So as a younger man, I probably got really mad, tried to argue with the guy, and that never works out, all right? Take it from me, some advice from your friend Russ. Just don't argue with the police, all right? Just take it to the courthouse. The judge is a lot more empathetic than police officers are. And I'm not trying to be a jerk to this guy either. He has a tough job. He needed to clear the intersection during a rush hour. I get that. But yeah, you could use a little tact and be a little nicer. I think you catch a lot more flies with honey than vinegar.
Are you have any questions about this?
No.
All right. You have
And
this
yes,
phone for
after
15
this
days.
took
There you go.
place, I had my run-in with Lyft. Lyft tried to charge me weekly. There was no communication. Accident, management with this company was horrible. I basically put a stop on Lyft being able to jack money out of my account because they were going to charge me for the rental for every week that it sat in the impound lot. I mean, they didn't even know it was in the impound lot. I'm trying to tell people the communication between Lyft driver and what happens to the vehicle after an accident, it was horrible. I mean, yeah, in a perfect world, it would have been towed to the shop where they would have done the work, but that's not what the accident entailed. And this officer's like, it's rush hour. I'm clearing this intersection. I don't have time for waiting for another tow truck from another company to tow it to, whatever body shop that Lyft wants it towed to. I'm clearing the intersection now. It's going into impound. Whatever, dude. Okay, So, yeah, Lyft, eventually they did work it out. They only charged me a week that it was in impound, which is better than, the month that they wanted to charge me. And they only charged me like $150 as opposed to the $220. And that was about the time they dropped rates because of COVID and people turning in these rental cars. A lot of people not traveling, a lot of tech workers working from home, that kind of thing. But I tried to pay back the $1,000 deductible, by the way. I owed a $1,000 deductible. I signed that thing. I wrecked a car. So I call Lyft's insurance company. They said, no, we don't handle that. Call Lyft's fleet service. I call Lyft's fleet service, and they said, no, we don't handle that either. So somebody will send you a bill from the insurance company about the deductible. And I'm like, okay, I've never received a bill. All right, kind of weird. I did receive a lot of emails and texts from Lyft going, hey, come back to work, buddy. You can go rent another car, just pay the deductible, and you're off to the races. You go ahead. It's a pandemic. That's part of it, too. I was in an accident, all right, through the Lyft Flex rental car, the nice little red hybrid that I've featured in some of my videos here. Was totaled. I totaled. Don't forget to subscribe, and why not watch another video? Stick around.